Hello, I'm Hope Logan. I am an actor on Bold and the Beautiful, and many people really love both me and our Bold and the Beautiful drama. So I've come here to share updates about my beloved Bold and the Beautiful. Everyone, please subscribe and support me. If you do, I will keep coming every day with new updates for you. The tension simmers beneath the surface like a storm waiting to break as a new day dawns, carrying with it choices that could shift loyalties, test relationships, and ignite consequences no one is fully prepared for. At the center of it all, Dylan finds herself caught in a complicated emotional web when Remy approaches her with a request that feels as risky as it is personal. He doesn't just ask for help. He leans on their shared history, reminding her that they are family, that she owes him, and that beneath everything, he is still someone worth believing in. His plea isn't just about redemption. It's about proving to Deke Sharp that he isn't beyond saving, that there's still good left in him, waiting to be seen. Dylan hesitates, her instincts warning her that this path could lead to trouble. Yet the weight of obligation presses down on her, forcing her to consider whether turning her back on him would cost her more than helping ever could. And in that quiet moment of conflict, she wavers, not fully agreeing, but not walking away either, caught between doubt and reluctant hope. But just as that fragile moment hangs in the balance, the threat of discovery looms dangerously close, tightening the tension like a vice. There's a sense that everything could unravel in an instant, especially when the possibility arises that Daphne might come looking for Dylan while Remy is still there. The image alone is enough to spark urgency. Dylan scrambling to hide him or pushing him out the door in a rush, her heart pounding as footsteps echo closer. It's the kind of near miss that leaves nerves frayed and secrets barely contained, where one wrong move could expose everything. And sure enough, Daphne does track Dylan down, her arrival carrying its own sense of purpose, her presence shifting the energy in the room. She isn't there by accident. She has something in mind, something deliberate. And as she begins to speak, it becomes clear that she has a proposition of her own, one that could pull Dylan in an entirely different direction. Whether it's business, ambition, or something far more personal remains uncertain. But Daphne's determination is unmistakable, and she wastes no time trying to draw Dylan into her plan. Elsewhere, frustration continues to build, slow and steady, threatening to erupt as Hope grapples with the uncertainty surrounding her future. She finds herself increasingly disillusioned with Steffi and Ridge, their inability or unwillingness to provide a clear relaunch date for Hope for the future, weighing heavily on her patience. It's not just about a timeline anymore. It's about respect, about trust, about whether her voice truly matters in a company that once felt like home. Steffi presses her, questioning what she intends to do, but Hope doesn't offer a simple answer. Instead, she lets the possibility linger in the air, hinting that if nothing changes, she may be forced to walk away entirely. It's a quiet but powerful declaration, one that signals a shift in her resolve, as if she's finally ready to take control of her own destiny, even if it means leaving everything familiar behind. The uncertainty is suffocating, but within it lies the spark of something bold, something transformative, something that could redefine not just her career, but her entire future. At the same time, another emotional battle unfolds as Brooke reaches out to Katie, hoping to mend what has long been fractured between them. There's a vulnerability in Brooke's approach, a sense that she genuinely wants peace, or at least something close to it. She extends an offer, a gesture meant to bridge the distance that has grown between them, but trust is not so easily rebuilt. Katie listens, but her skepticism lingers, shaped by past wounds and sharp words that haven't fully healed. The question hangs heavy in the air. Can Brooke truly be sincere? Or is this just another attempt layered with subtle jabs and unspoken tensions? Even if a fragile truce begins to form, it feels delicate, like glass that could shatter at the slightest pressure. And looming over it all is the possibility that everything could come crashing down if Hope makes the decision that's been quietly building inside her. Because sooner rather than later, that decision will come. And when it does, it promises to send shockwaves through everyone connected to it. Hope stands on the edge of something massive, something that could redefine alliances and ignite conflict in ways no one can predict. The idea of her leaving Forrester Creations and potentially stepping into something new under the Logan name carries enormous implications, not just for her, but for the entire landscape around her. It's more than a career move. It's a statement, a declaration of independence, and perhaps even a reckoning. And as the pieces begin to shift into place, one thing becomes certain. Whatever happens next won't just change the game, it will rewrite it entirely. The ripple effects of that looming decision begin to spread long before any official announcement is made, seeping into every conversation, every glance, every uneasy silence that follows. Hope carries the weight of it with her, her thoughts constantly circling back to what she stands to lose and what she might finally gain by stepping away from a place that no longer feels like hers. There's a quiet fire building inside her now, a determination that wasn't there before, fueled by disappointment but sharpened into something far more powerful. Even as Steffi and Ridge remain unaware of just how close they are to losing her, the distance between them grows more obvious with each passing moment, as if an invisible line has already been drawn. Hope no longer waits for answers. She studies the silence, interprets it, and begins to see it for what it truly is. And in that realization, something shifts irreversibly, pushing her closer to a choice that will not only define her future, but challenge everything the Forrester legacy stands for. Back in Dylan's world, the pressure intensifies as she finds herself standing at the intersection of two very different paths, both demanding something from her that she isn't sure she's ready to give. Remy's plea still echoes in her mind, his insistence that he deserves a chance, that he can prove himself if only someone will stand beside him. There's a sincerity in his voice that's difficult to ignore, a vulnerability that chips away at her resistance, even as doubt lingers just beneath the surface. But then there's Daphne, confident, composed, and unwavering in her own intentions, offering something entirely different, something that promises opportunity but carries its own unknown risks. Daphne doesn't appeal to Dylan's emotions. She appeals to her ambition, to the part of her that wonders what more might be out there if she dares to reach for it. And caught between loyalty and possibility, Dylan begins to realize that whatever choice she makes will come at a cost, one that could reshape her relationships in ways she can't fully predict. Meanwhile, the fragile thread connecting Brooke and Katie stretches tighter as their conversation lingers in that delicate space between reconciliation and relapse. Brooke's effort to extend an olive branch feels genuine in the moment, her tone softer, her intentions seemingly clear. But history has a way of casting long shadows over even the most hopeful gestures. Katie listens carefully, searching for sincerity beneath Brooke's words, weighing whether this is truly a step forward or simply another cycle waiting to repeat itself. There's a quiet tension in the air, an unspoken acknowledgement that peace between them has always been temporary, easily fractured by old wounds that refuse to fully heal. And yet, for a brief moment, there's something almost comforting in the idea that they could try again, that they could choose understanding over conflict. But even as that possibility takes shape, the looming uncertainty surrounding hope threatens to undo it all, like a storm gathering just beyond the horizon, ready to sweep away whatever fragile calm they manage to build. As the day edges closer to its turning point, the sense of inevitability grows stronger, wrapping itself around every storyline like a tightening grip. Hope's next move feels less like a question and more like a countdown, each second bringing her closer to a declaration that will leave no room for doubt. Dylan remains suspended between two forces pulling her in opposite directions, her decision still hanging in the balance as both Remy and Daphne wait for her to choose. And Brooke and Katie stand on uncertain ground, their attempt at peace balancing precariously against the weight of everything that could still go wrong. It's a moment where everything feels interconnected, where one decision has the power to ignite a chain reaction that touches everyone involved. And as the tension builds to its peak, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Change isn't just coming, it's already begun, quietly reshaping the future in ways no one can stop. And then, almost imperceptibly at first, the atmosphere shifts from anticipation into motion, as if the entire world around them has finally decided to stop waiting and start reacting. Hope stands at the center of that shift, no longer hesitating, no longer second-guessing the instincts that have been guiding her toward something new. There's a quiet resolve in her posture now, a clarity in her expression that speaks louder than any words she's yet to say. And for the first time in a long while, she looks like someone who knows exactly what she's about to do. The uncertainty that once weighed her down has transformed into purpose, and with it comes a sense of liberation that is both exhilarating and terrifying. She understands the consequences, understands the ripple effect her decision will create, but she also knows that staying where she is would mean slowly losing herself. And so, as the pieces fall into place, Hope prepares to step forward, not as someone waiting for permission, but as someone ready to claim her own path, no matter who it unsettles. Across town, Dylan's internal battle reaches a breaking point, the competing voices of loyalty and ambition growing too loud to ignore any longer. Remy's belief in redemption lingers like a fragile promise, something that could either rebuild him or break them both if it fails. While Daphne's proposition continues to glimmer with possibility, offering a future that feels bold and uncharted. Dylan begins to see that this isn't just about helping one person or joining another. It's about defining who she wants to be when everything is stripped down to its core. The weight of that realization presses in on her, forcing her to confront truths she's been avoiding, about her fears, her hopes, and the kind of risks she's willing to take. There's no easy answer waiting for her, no clear path that guarantees safety, and that's what makes the moment so powerful. Because whatever she chooses next won't just influence the people around her, it will shape the trajectory of her own life in ways she can't undo. And in that quiet, heavy pause before action, Dylan stands on the edge of transformation, knowing that the next step will change everything. Meanwhile, Brooke and Katie remain suspended in their fragile attempt at peace, both of them aware that what they're building is delicate, something that requires care, patience, and a willingness to let go of the past, even if just a little. Brooke's effort to reach out has created a crack in the wall between them, a small opening where understanding might grow if they allow it. But Katie's caution still lingers, guarding her heart against the possibility of disappointment. There's an emotional complexity in the way they navigate each other now, every word measured, every glance carrying layers of meaning that go far beyond what's spoken. For a fleeting moment, it feels like they might actually find common ground, like they might be able to rewrite the narrative that has kept them at odds for so long. But beneath that fragile calm lies the undeniable truth that everything could shift again in an instant, especially with Hope's decision looming so large over their lives. And as they stand there, caught between what has been and what could be, the future feels uncertain, but not entirely out of reach. By the time the day begins to draw toward its inevitable turning point, the sense of change is no longer subtle. It's undeniable, woven into every interaction, every decision, every breath of silence that follows. Hope's impending announcement feels like a spark waiting to ignite. Dylan's choice hangs like a storm ready to break, and Brooke and Katie's fragile truce teeters on the edge of something that could either strengthen or shatter it completely. There's a rhythm to it all, a rising intensity that pulls every storyline tighter and tighter until they begin to overlap, their outcomes no longer isolated but deeply interconnected. And as the final moments approach, it becomes clear that this isn't just another day. It's a turning point, a moment where everything begins to shift in ways that will echo far beyond what anyone can see right now. Because once these choices are made, Once these truths are spoken, there will be no going back. Only forward into whatever comes next, no matter how uncertain or transformative it may be. And just when it seems like everything has reached its breaking point, the silence before the storm becomes almost unbearable, stretching thin across every moment like a held breath that refuses to release. Hope finally steps into that silence with quiet authority, no longer testing the waters but ready to reshape them entirely. There's a shift in the air when she begins to move forward with her plan, a sense that something irreversible has been set in motion, even before the words fully leave her lips. This isn't just a career decision anymore. It's a declaration of identity, a refusal to remain in a space where her voice has been diminished and her vision delayed. The idea of stepping away from Forrester Creations no longer feels like a risk. It feels like the only path that honors who she has become. And as that realization settles in, there's a powerful sense that Hope is no longer reacting to the world around her. She's about to redefine it. At the same time, Dylan can no longer remain suspended between two opposing forces, the tension within her reaching a point where inaction is no longer an option. Remy's desperation and belief in second chances clash sharply with Daphne's calculated confidence and forward-thinking ambition, leaving Dylan to confront a truth she's been avoiding. There is no way to satisfy both without losing herself in the process. The weight of family obligation pulls at her heart, reminding her of everything that binds her to Remy, while the allure of Daphne's proposition sparks something deeper, something tied to growth, independence, and the unknown. It's not just about choosing between two people, it's about choosing between two versions of her future. And in that defining moment, Dylan begins to understand that whichever path she takes will require sacrifice, courage, and a willingness to face the consequences head-on. The hesitation fades, replaced by a quiet determination, as she prepares to make a choice that will echo far beyond this single day. Elsewhere, Brooke and Katie remain locked in that delicate emotional balance, their fragile truce beginning to take shape in ways that feel both hopeful and uncertain. There's a softness between them now that wasn't there before, a cautious willingness to listen instead of react, to understand instead of defend. Brooke's attempt at peace lingers in the air, not perfect, not without flaws, but genuine enough to create a moment of connection that feels almost unfamiliar. Katie, still guarded, allows herself to lean into that moment just enough to see what it might become, even if she's not ready to fully trust it yet. Their shared history looms large, filled with misunderstandings and pain, but for now, they stand in a space where healing feels possible, even if it's only the first step. And yet, beneath that fragile progress, there's an unspoken awareness that everything they're building could be shaken by the decisions unfolding around them, especially the one Hope is about to make. As the threads of each story begin to tighten, weaving together into something far more complex and emotionally charged, the sense of inevitability becomes impossible to ignore. Hope's bold move threatens to redraw the lines of loyalty and power. Dylan's decision promises to shift personal alliances in unpredictable ways, and Brooke and Katie's tentative peace hangs in the balance, vulnerable to the fallout that's surely coming. The world around them feels like it's standing on the edge of transformation, where every choice carries weight and every consequence feels magnified. And in that final stretch, as emotions run high and truths inch closer to the surface, one thing becomes undeniably clear. This is the moment where everything changes. Not gradually, not quietly, but all at once, like a spark catching fire and spreading faster than anyone can contain. And when it finally ignites, the aftermath won't just shape what happens next, it will define everything that follows.